excited to be with you all this morning, and the fact that it is not icy, snowy, blowing, it's really quite pleasant. And remembering back 2 years ago with the joys of the ice storm, I don't know about you all, but that was a real treat. I really don't want to repeat. We are now live on Facebook, and I'm going to go back over to see you all the way we are. Come on, Zoom. Me and technology this morning are having some issues. So anyway, got it. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me go back to my big screen so I can really see you. And again, welcome to the February edition of Coffee with Cathy. I'm Kaiser Mayor Cathy Clark. I have my little February mug with my little hearts and flowers. And I just want to wish you all a season of love and caring and looking forward to spring. I know almost everybody I know who has a garden or even has a flower pot is thinking, I wonder what I can plant. And just remember that we always get fooled by the weather and it feels like it's going to be good. And then March comes in and goes, just kidding. So anyway, hope you all are having a great month. I know it's a short month, and so we all packed 31 days worth of work into 28, and that is true of my friends here today on Coffee with Cathy. Is Betty Hart from the Kaiser Fire District, Ramiro Navarro from the Chariots Board of Directors, and Pastor Jose Dominguez from La Luz de Valle. Bob Salazar from the Salem Kaiser School District will try to join us. They are very, very busy in the final stages of interviewing for the superintendent for the Salem Kaiser School District. And every member of that board has been working a crazy number of hours as they are working to make sure that they make the best possible selection of the person who's going to continue the work serving our students and families in our community as the superintendent of the second largest school district in Oregon, Salem Kaiser. And of course, we want the best for our students and our staff to continue to thrive into the future. So thank you, Bob Salazar and the entire Salem Kaiser School Board team for the work you're doing for selecting the superintendent on top of everything else that it takes to keep this great school district moving forward. So today, I'd just like to kick it off with a few things. Before we went on the air, we were talking about the fact that it is a legislative session. Woo! This is a very, very busy time, and it's the first one back in the building since the COVID pandemic shut down the in-person meetings. One of the good things is that meetings are now, and testimony can be taken by hybrid. You don't have to be on site, which is great for people who don't live within an hour of Salem. In the past, people had to drive over, from Eastern Oregon. They had to find some way of being present in the building. So the switch over to hybrid meetings has really made our process more open and accessible to so many more people. There's also a lot of excitement in the building because there's so many new legislators. They have a lot of ideas, and now they have to hone and refine and blend all those great ideas. 10 people might have had the same idea for a bill, and for something that needs fixed, and they need to bring those all together. So it's a lot of what they call sausage making, and it's a bit of a grinder as you start grinding through all the bills. I want to let people know that as your mayor, I am a member of the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments Legislative Committee. So I serve with Independence Mayor John McArdle, Lisa Lino from the Confederated Tribes, Ian Davidson from Chariots Board of Directors. I'm missing two very important people. Commissioner Bethel usually sends one of her policy advisors to be part of that. We have also worked very hard with, Lyle Mordhorst, Polk County Commissioner. And we've been working on making sure that we have, we're watching bills that can be helpful to our cities, counties, and special districts, watching for bills that need some input on how to make them better for our cities, counties, and special districts, and then communicating with all of the members of our 3 county council of governments so we can all be engaged in this process of legislation that can either help or need some correction after the session. I want to give a big emphasis on special districts because both Betty Hart and Ramiro Navarro represent organizations that are considered special districts. So you have cities, Kaiser, counties, Marion, Polk, Yamhill, but then there's everybody else who's a government entity. And so there's an organization that works to bring together the special districts. And I want to open it up to Betty and Ramiro to talk to folks about what is the special districts. And I know you're all special, but how is that different? But how is it the same as what we do as other governments like cities and counties?
How about if I start, if that's okay? I just attended the Special Districts Association of Oregon annual conference. They do such a good job. And of course, they're very interested in promoting the idea of special districts. So I'm really glad you brought this up, Cathy, because a lot of people don't even realize that they exist. Many people, however, do have on their ballot sometimes some obscure, vote for somebody who's a member of a sewer district or some kind of a conservation district or some other unusual thing. There are nearly 1,000 special districts in Oregon. About 250 of them are fire districts. Kaiser is one of the largest, and many of them are very small in terms of the number of people they serve, but might be quite large in terms of the area they serve. And they're all volunteer, and they have very small budgets because they don't have any paid staff. But there are also water districts, sewer districts, port districts, library districts, park and recreation district. I believe there's even a hospital district. And how we are like city governments is that our boards of directors are elected. And in fact, May is the time in the odd numbered years when special district board of directors positions are on the ballot. And in fact, for Kaiser Fire, we do have 3 positions that will be on the ballot. Mine, and I'm thinking about running for another term, but 2 others who are considering, have already indicated that they're not going to run again. So we do have 2 open positions. The other thing that makes us different from a city is that we're a single focus district. So the Kaiser Fire District only deals with not only fire issues, but also, of course, we do emergency medical responses as well. So, but that's part of, typical fire department activity. So, and likewise for RJ is that the Chariots are a single focus district, i.e. transportation for, bus transportation in our case, but in a variety of ways. They do it in a lot of different ways in terms of how they provide the transportation and to whom they provide the transportation. But again, in RJ's case, I believe those positions are actually appointed by the governor. Is that correct, RJ?
That is correct. Thank you, Betty. So our positions are appointed by the governor. There are quite a few different special districts and boards where those positions are appointed by the governor. And so you apply to be appointed to that position, you go through an interview process, and then you get confirmed by the legislature. And once you serve your special district, you have a certain area that your focus is going to be on. And so for the Salem Area Mass Transit District, we provide services inside the urban growth boundary of Salem and Kaiser. We do have services that we provide to some of our neighbors and our neighboring communities, but our main focus is here within the urban growth boundary. And so I imagine with the Kaiser Fire Board, you're kind of in the same area where you're just serving the city of Kaiser.
Well, yes, we do have about a 10 square mile area, but we do have agreements with the agencies around us. So we often respond to calls either in Salem or Marion County Fire District when they're not able to. So, and mutual aid agreements, and likewise, they respond to calls in our jurisdiction as well. So, okay. Well, I could go on, but my classic example of how poorly people know about special districts is the opioid agreement, where a ton of money is coming down from the pharmaceutical companies to help mitigate some of the issues with respect to that. None of that money is going to special districts, and yet in Oregon alone, the fire and probably first responders for medical emergencies are in the hands of 250 special district fire districts. So it's kind of a sad situation, and I know SDAO is working on changing that for all of us. So I appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much, Betty and Ramiro, for talking about special districts and the two of the ones that serve the people here in Kaiser. And it does get complicated. The city of Kaiser proper is actually served by 2 fire districts because those boundaries are established separately from the cities. So from Park Meadow North, we are served by the Marion County Fire District #1, and then from Park Meadow South, the boundaries are pretty much the city limits, if I'm right, Betty.
Well, they do go beyond the city limits a little bit to the west, especially, and maybe to the, they're kind of within the urban growth boundary. But I think, for instance, the sewage treatment plant is not in the city of Kaiser, but is in but we do serve that if necessary. So out to that kind of area. So
actually it is.
Oh, is it in the city? Okay.
It actually is. So I think that, there's a lot of collaboration that has to happen, a lot of cooperation. So when we're looking at legislation, we would need to inform our legislators who may not know about the functions and the limitations and the opportunities within cities, counties, and special districts. So every time we have a new legislative session, and we've got 22 out of 60 freshmen, so there's a lot of education that's happening. We have to do this every 2 years to bring them up to speed when they have, well, can't we do this? And that we would love to. Here's how you can fix it so we can. Or, the Oregon Constitution really makes that hard. In a recent opportunity we had with the legislative leaders, the League of Oregon Cities hosted a city day at the Capitol. I know Transit does city days or transit days. Fire districts, again, very much present in the building to make legislators aware of issues. So at the city day, we were able to bring in city officials from across the state, and we had we were able to be addressed by Governor Kotek, the Speaker, the Senate President, minority leaders. And one of the things I made a point of trying to get across to the legislators is that property taxes go to local jurisdictions. The City of Kaiser, Marion County, the Fire District, the Chariots Transit, and so many others receive property taxes. So every time the legislature gets a wild hair and says, it'd be really nice to give somebody a break on their property taxes, it doesn't come out of their general fund, it comes out of our hide. So if they want to give a break on property taxes, we need to keep reminding them to backfill with the state funds so that we can continue to provide services. Our general funds are the most constrained, and we are very, very transparent with every single dollar. But if you don't have enough dollars at the end of the day, all you're left with is Berry One and some pixie dust. And last time I checked, those aren't negotiable. So let's keep those dollars coming and don't give away our store.
Very well said.
Take it out of their general fund. I'm good with that.
Yeah, right. Well, and for instance, we're limited by the total dollar per thousand that the local governments can do, and you're limited by your tax base. It goes up very slowly and very small amounts relative to the costs going up. And for the Kaiser Fire District, we have to supplement that with a levy in order to provide the services. The number of calls we have each year has been increasing from the previous year, and it continues to go up. And we rely on having, paid staff to be able to respond to those calls. So we're running between 16 and 20 calls a day on average. And again, in 2022, we had a record number of calls that year. And we're, just in the first month, again, 2023, we had a high number of calls. And of course, the bulk of those are medical calls. And as our population is aging, and we have a fair number of senior living facilities in the Kaiser area, we end up getting a lot of calls, medical calls. So that's such an important area. Thank you for bringing that up.
So the fire district has levies. You also have a bond, I believe. The city
Yes.
has, we chose to go the route of a police fee and a parks fee to supplement the baseline that we have in our general fund. Again, that's property tax and franchise fees. But in order to be able to maintain a level of service, to maintain parks, and to hire the 5 more positions of police that our general fund absolutely cannot support, that's how the city council chose to do it. And our generous community has said, yes, that's a good investment, and didn't recall us. The transit district, you have, the funding for transit is very complex. I deal with this on SCATS, because Salem Kaiser Area Transportation Study, which handles federal funding. So you don't have just different colors of money, you have different shades of colors of money coming in for the transit district, but operations is constrained.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's you're absolutely true. We aren't in as much of a bind, I feel like, as the city of Kaiser, because we have different pots that we can pull funding from to be able to provide different services. For example, with the Youth Zero grant, we were able to, or the Youth Zero Pass, we were able to receive grants from the city of Kaiser, from the city of Salem, from from the Salem Kaiser School Board, to be able to provide that service. And once we got that service up and running, and it was such a good service, and we were able to show folks that this is how we really support our community by providing this Youth Zero Pass, we were able to allocate funds from the other government funds that are specific to transportation to be able to keep that program going. And so we definitely have multiple pods and different colored pods to be able to keep our service going. But that's, knowing that means that we need to be mindful of the populations that we're serving as well, and making sure that folks that are paying into this service are receiving the full benefit, right? Because there's folks that could be paying for this service out in West Salem that don't have access to public transportation in the same way that folks do on this side of the river.
But I know that with your strategic planning, Ramiro, the Chariots district has been doing an amazing job continuing to refine and expand service for transit. And yes, the zero cost youth pass program has been wildly successful. Mayor Hoy and I both enjoy bragging on this, that we got to play a very small part in a very large improvement in service that the riders love and the parents of students absolutely love, and the teachers love it, because students can stay after school for clubs, activities, and sports, which are keys to improved graduation. They can get to jobs social events, and family needs much more easily. So it's been a game changer. I see so many people now that we have weekend service, every weekend using the transit services here in Kaiser, and it's been a tremendous improvement in our livability. And Pastor Dominguez, I'd love to go to you, as you work with the families in your not only in your church but also as part of the Latino Action Committee and outreach in the community. Some of these programs, I hope, have been helpful for people that you know, and how can we continue to grow this opportunity for service? You're on mute.
There we go. The
Yay.
beauty of the Kaiser or the Chariots is for our young people. That's an amazing program. They are taking advantage of that, and just to hear that there is service on a Sunday, man, that's a big one there. And my hat's off to Chariots and those that made that happen. Navarro and his staff and the people that work there. But yes, some of these things that are provided for our community, especially the Latina community, it's a matter of just getting the people hooked up with the resources and knowing that they're out there. And so basically that's what we do there at Light of the Valley. We hook people up with resources and the things that are available in the community. But just kind of changing a little bit the topic, LAC, we just recently had a sudden loss of one of our board members. It was just so unexpected. We lost Aurora Cedillo, who was just a real go-getter, a real influencer, not only in the educational piece, but also in our community. And we just are going to miss her. And because of that loss, we just had a board meeting at LAC. The LAC board members, we are getting ready for our event nonetheless. May 11th, our LAC banquet that we do, and we're kind of figuring that out, how we're going to do that this year with one less board member. But we're out there. We're going to be taking applications for board members for LAC, and we're going to be going through a recruiting interviewing process here. We just got together and we decided that it would be a good thing that we begin to bring young people on. If you know of any young people, any go-getters out there in the community who have that spirit of volunteerism, who have that spirit of giving to our community, that's what we're looking at right now. So we're in a situation there at LAC where things are changing, and things have to change to accommodate our future. So that's where we're at. Also, I'm on some other boards. There's a lot of exciting things going on in the community. I'm on a board with the Salem Leadership Foundation. We're in a process of strategic planning for the city, opening up new avenues, new things. There's a new well, it's just in the planning stages, and it's ready to launch. It's something called Be Black. Be Black. I have a meeting regarding that to talk about that among our Black community, our people in the Black community who have started a new organization to help families, to help businesses, and really excited just to hear what is being done there. And I think that's all I have to cover, other than let's just continue to be persistent and persevere and do our due diligence in the areas where we're influencing and we're impacting our community. Sometimes we get so caught up in the work the daily routine, that we forget that we've been placed in a place where we can make a difference in terms of resourcing things, in terms of helping our community be a better place to live.
Thank you so much for that, Pastor. Am I on mute?
No, you're not.
Okay, good. Just double checking. If people are interested in applying for the board position, what would the
They would call me, Jose Dominguez, at 503-689-1652. That would be my office. If I'm not there, I will immediately call them back and give them the information.
okay?
Really,
I'm putting this
really
into
looking.
the chat.
Go ahead. Thank you. Really
I
looking
have to-
forward.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead,
I
Betty.
was going to say, it's all I can do to not volunteer for that, because do not need one more thing on my plate, but I certainly do believe in what LAC is doing. Anyway, but so I'm excited for you guys. I'm so glad you're looking for some new members, because I can appreciate that, losing a member. I was quite surprised when I saw that, because I know a couple of other members of your group have some health issues, and is like, oh,
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Yeah, that was unexpected. We look forward to a really good process of recruiting and a process of interviewing. We believe that we have people who have a heart to serve in our community, and we're looking forward to that process.
So, Pastor, you mentioned May 11th. What's happening that day?
Well, we are still in the process because of our recent loss. We have our LAC banquet that we do, or of late, because of the pandemic, what we've done is we've had a kind of a drive-through where we connect with McNary High School and we give out our scholarships. We're preparing this year. They've given us a figure in terms of graduates, 33 to 40 graduates this year. Last year, we were able to provide scholarships for 33 graduates from McNary High School, and we gave out $400 each to each Latino graduate. So what we're doing is we're gearing up. We're trying to figure out. We're probably planning on doing either a drive-through. I think is what we're thinking of doing, because of staff, and we're a small staff now, so we have to work a little harder, but we can put it together. But we're looking forward to that. We'd like to invite some of you that are here on Coffee with Cathy, if you can come and give us a visit, as we're there with parents and students, and we just get so much support from McNary High School. Hats off to Principal Jesperson and his staff out there. It's just such a pleasure to work with them and to communicate with them about this event. We also want to see if we can get some Kaiser Times promo for that this year.
I think we could all call the Kaiser Times and say, hey, let's get out there and do this. This is the kind of thing that people love to read about and see, especially if there's pictures of their kids in the paper. They're going to buy the paper, right?
Yeah, of course. And again, at LAC, we just want to thank all our contributors that are contributing to this happening. This community is amazing. Some of our contributors, in fact, they even look forward to giving to this, and we're just so thankful because we're able to serve more students this year, I think, than we're ever going to serve in terms of providing scholarships.
Well, and I like what our friend Dick Whitnell says. He doesn't give, he invests, and this is a very, very high return on investment uh, opportunity for everybody in the community. Those scholarships, the students who receive those scholarships truly take those and they do amazing things. And as we always say, come back, come home and invest into the next generation.
Thank you, Mayor, for those kinds words. We're hearing in the community, we have several students that have graduated that are working. They're working in some very important governmental offices at this time. We're trying to get some of those students to come and be a part of the board. So pray for us.
Yes. Well, one of the things we talked about earlier was budgets, and I know City of Kaiser has a budget committee, the fire district has a budget committee, the Chariots has a budget committee. So if people are interested, if you really want to know how an organization works, you know, the Latino Action Committee has a budget and program to fund. If you want to know how something works, get into the budget. And I know people's eyes glaze over going, oh, those numbers and everything. Those numbers tell a story, and a very important story. So I really encourage people to apply to be a part of that, be a part of the Latino Action Committee and other organizations that are serving our students, like the Kaiser Network of Women, like so many great organizations that are strategic in investing well for results for people. And at the end of the day, that's what all of us want, is to make sure that what we do matters. And what we do with people, not for, with, really matters. So it's exciting.
Yeah, Cathy, I'd like to jump in here because it just happens that the Kaiser Fire District has 2 openings on our budget committee. And so we need some candidates for that. And the application is on our website, which is kaiserfire.com. So people who might be interested in serving on the budget committee, you must be a resident of the fire district and you have to be a registered voter. That's true of any governmental budget committee, by the way. And so, yeah, we would really like to have some people, if you're interested in learning more about budgeting or government, it is fortunately, because we're a single service organization, it's not nearly as big a job as, for instance, with the City of Kaiser or some other larger organization. And so we generally can get through our budget in one meeting in the spring, although I expect us to do some long-range planning that budget committee members will be involved in over the next few months. But it isn't like it's a commitment every month or several times a month for the most part. So please, if you're the least bit interested, go to the Kaiser webpage, kaiserfire.com, and complete an application. And the board does make the appointment. So anyway, we're looking forward to that, because May is budget season for all of us in government. We're really, well, maybe not so much looking forward to it.
Oh, yes. I love what our finance director said. He does build his year around that, between the long range planning and the budget committee. He goes, it's either audit season or budget season. That's the 2 seasons in his life. And yes, he gets very excited about it. And that's what you want in a finance director, somebody who is very excited about really digging into the nuts and bolts, because that's the fuel. Things cost money, people cost money, equipment costs money, keeping the lights on costs money. So the money that we produce, that we all pay through our taxes, levies, fees, however, whatever you call it, whatever money comes into our districts, that's the funds we use. And the expectation is we are going to then produce services for the people in our community.
Yes, and Yeah, I was going to say government budgeting is fairly complex in that you can't just use any pot of money for anything. So for instance, it's particularly in the transit district where they have various pots of money that they may only be able to use a specific pot for a specific activity and not use it for some other activity, for instance. So specialized funding is particularly complex in local government, in particular. At the Kaiser Fire District, we don't have so many different sources that we have that complexity, with the exception of sometimes grants that are limited to how they can be used. But our tax dollars are general fund dollars. They can be used to pay for people, small equipment, supplies, that sort of thing. But it's important that we budget those carefully because there are rules around spending your budget as well. So it's pretty complicated.
Yeah, breaking those rules have consequences. So
Yeah.
we're all very cognizant of that. And we want to make sure that, and also none of our districts are allowed to have an unbalanced budget. We are required to have balanced budget. So we can't float debt in the future. We don't have any of that. And that's a good thing. Must have balanced budgets. And so we're totally accountable. Everything's on required to be online. And that's the way we want it, because that's how we all found out. Cautionary tale to y'all. I was on some committees in the early days when my husband and I moved to Kaiser, but I really started getting on people's radars when I started showing up to budget. 2 years I showed up in the audience. Right after that, I was on the committee. So watch out.
Yes, right. That's all you need to do is come to the budget committee, and chances are you'll get an opportunity.
People start paying attention. They go, oh, this person's really interested in how things really work. This is the nuts and bolts part, and how to get to the what we do.
Yeah.
Shifting gears just a little bit. So we're still in our winter season, and all of us have been involved in. I'm sorry, Pastor Dominguez, you unmuted.
Yeah, yes, I did. I just wanted, I forgot to mention this. There's a neat thing going on during spring break. It's called Operation Encourage, and I want to encourage some of our faith community. We want to be able to encourage our teachers. Want to be able to encourage them by providing a meal for them. Right now, what I've heard is March 22nd, March 23rd, to provide, whether it's a breakfast, whether it's a dinner, the staff will be there on these two particular days, 22nd and 23rd. They'll be there from 7:30 in the morning to 7:30 p.m. So anytime during that time, I want to shout out to the faith community. We can provide a meal for our teachers, whether it's 7:30 in the morning or whether it's 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, just to encourage the good work that our teachers do on a daily basis. They need encouragement just as any of us need encouragement. I think that would be so nice to do, and that will be at Weddell. What they're doing is they're covering Gubser. This is what we have been told. Cummings Elementary, Gubser have been already taken care of. Church on the Hill and other churches have stepped in. We are in the process of making the decision, even on our church, which what day or what we're going to do. But that want to encourage you to encourage others.
What a good word. That is so important to find those ways, those tangible ways of encouragement. Thank you for letting us know about that. If people want to get involved, so it sounds like Gubser and Cummings have partnerships that have already got plans in place. They want to partner with you. Again,
They
that's
can,
the
they,
same phone number for your office?
yeah, they could either partner with me, but I would encourage them to call Meredith Moody. I think we had her on, was it last month? We had Meredith on from Kaiser United. So she's the one that's spearheading that, and we're just getting the word out. So
And I'll try to get that number or email into the Facebook chat so folks can know how to get a hold of Meredith and grow that partnership to encourage our teachers and all of our education staff.
yes.
Really want to brag on a couple of our teachers. We had a teacher from Kennedy who won a Crystal Apple, and we had teachers and staff from across the Kaiser schools. Of course, across Salem Kaiser, there were 89 nominees, 15 award recipients. I do want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, a former mayor of Amity, Michael Cape. He's in transportation for the Salem Kaiser School District, and he was awarded a Crystal Apple. So, good on Michael. He was the head of the Mayor's Association during his tenure as mayor of the wonderful city of Amity. And his whole thing was about be kind. Be kind. And he brought that into his service, into his city, to the Mayor's Association, and very obviously into his service in transportation for our students through the wonderful yellow school buses that take them to school. So congratulations to Michael. Also want to give a shout out to Eric Jesperson, who was recognized as Educator of the Year by the Kaiser Chamber of Commerce at our recent First Citizen banquet in January. So that was a wonderful evening, but a great way to continue to lift up the great work that's happening in our schools. And those don't happen just on the school. The community doesn't stop at the door going, okay, you're in the school, we're not connected. There is so much connectedness happening and restarting as people are back in the buildings, but also in the community. So thank you everybody for just the way we partner to serve our students as they go through their education journey. I don't remember where I was going from there, but I'll probably circle around and get that. Betty.
Yeah, so I have quite a list of things to mention today, some of which we've already had the opportunity to talk about a little bit. But in May, the Kaiser Fire District will be celebrating its 75th anniversary. So it started in 1948, and we're looking forward to that. And we're inviting people to let us know if they've ever had any connection, whether they were a volunteer, a member of the career staff, a member of one of the committees or the board. They can go to our website, kaiserfire.com, and there's a place to tell us who you are and what you did, and we'll be sure you get information about what's going on at that time. I'm not in on the planning for this one. I was involved when we did the 70th anniversary 5 years ago, but this is such a great way. And one of the wonderful things about Kaiser Fire is we have been engaged with our community throughout its history, and we see that as an important part of what we continue to do. And in fact, one of the things the staff has been working on is building a cadre of volunteers for support service to, help out at events and to represent the fire district, perhaps as Read Across America. And so we've got t-shirts for those people. And it's a great way for people to be involved with fire service without having to necessarily work a shift or get in shape to do the kinds of things that the fire people have to do. So I'm pretty excited about that. I really think it's a great opportunity for, sometimes those 4-year-olds who want to be firefighters when they don't necessarily outgrow that. They just aren't able to find a good way to do that. So this is a way people can be involved with the fire district without having to do all the things that the career staff and career volunteers do. Anyway, so our board is meeting Tuesday night at 7. I know the city council is meeting at the same time. We are in the process of recruiting for a new fire chief. That position is open, and there's information about that on the website. And we'll be finalizing the process for that at our meeting, as well as we've been working closely. Our interim chief, Ryan Russell, has been working closely with Marion County. And so we have on our agenda an intergovernmental agreement between Marion County Fire District and Kaiser Fire to share some staff. So we have technical support with our computer system that we can share some of that person's time with them. And they have an HR person that we can borrow some time from, which we really need. So by sharing that, we can get that, both of us get some additional expertise in our organizations without spending extra money. So assuming that it works out the way they have finalized it, then there won't be exchange of cash involved if we can avoid it. So that's really great. And then, as I mentioned, we'll have a levy in the fall. So we'll be doing some analysis in terms of what our ongoing costs are likely to be, because we do need to try to increase our staff a little bit the challenge for our staff is we don't wear them out so much that they aren't able to do their best when they're called on. So that's so important to our community. And we know I am so impressed with how well our staff does when they go on a call, and how professional they are and how thoughtful they are and how empathetic they can be. Not that you don't expect that, it's just that time after time after time. And we occasionally get thank you notes from families who have lost a loved one, but are thanking the fire staff who showed up for the work that they did to try to save their loved one, even though it didn't work out. And I think when people can take the time to do that, it really says something about our staff and our community as well. And so it makes one of the things that is sort of, if you will, my reward for serving on the fire board is getting those kinds of letters when they occur. And actually, if it's okay with you, I have a couple of announcements from the Rotary Club. One is that there's the Civic Center cleanup scheduled for March 11th and from 9 to 12. And so we're looking for volunteers that day, and people can just come to the Civic Center and they'll get assigned to some work on the grounds. And Mark Hallier is in charge of organizing, and he does such a great job because he gets ahead of time, all of the trimmings are done on the bushes and plants and stuff. And then the volunteers that day just basically clean up all the stuff around the leaves and trimmings and kind of make everything look neat as we go into the summer months. And of course, the Kaiser Rotary Club is having its big fundraiser now. We have a raffle and a raffle party on April 1st. And the raffle prize is $10,000 in gold and silver coin. And if anybody is interested in buying a raffle ticket, which allows you to come to the party on the 1st, they can do so from the Kaiser Rotary website, kaiserrotary.org, and under events. And so it's how the Rotary Club raises money to turn around and reinvest in our community. And over the years, the Rotary Club has invested somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 million in the Kaiser community, plus a lot of sweat equity, I might say. Anyway, so that's sort of my quick rundown of things that have come on my radar for today.
Well, thank you, Betty. And I want to piggyback on the anniversaries because the city of Kaiser had turned 40 in November. So we are celebrating our 40th birthday. The Kaiser Fire District and so many other organizations predate the city. We are an old community, but we are a very young city, the second youngest in Oregon. The only one that's older than us or younger than us is La Pine, Oregon. That said, I just put into the Facebook feed a link to the 40th birthday celebration for the city of Kaiser. We would welcome people to get involved in helping to plan this great event. It is going to be the third weekend in June. I know that's Father's Day weekend, so you'll be able to come out and do some fun activities with the whole family. And please go there if you'd like to help or want to know what's going on for the city of Kaiser as we celebrate our 40th and get ready for the next 40. We are starting a process of strategic planning for the Kaiser City Council. The first time we've engaged in something longer term than our 2-year goal setting that we do on a biennial basis. So we're really excited for this next iteration as the city engages in what the fire district, the transit district, and so many others, and the Latino Action Committee have been doing. We have to cast a longer vision so that we know where we're going and who needs to come along with us to get things done and with our community. As we wrap up today, I do want to give a shout out to our local DHS office at Vocational Rehab. I had the opportunity to go over there on Valentine's Day, where they have ongoing activities raising money for the Marion Polk Food Share, and they are doing raffle baskets with many donations from local businesses right here in Kaiser and Salem, where you can buy a raffle ticket and all the proceeds go to the Marion Polk Food Share. So if you want to go see what's going on over at the DHS, is 3402 Cherry Avenue. It's on the second floor. They have brightly colored arrows, so you can't miss them. And you can buy your raffle tickets. On this coming Tuesday, they'll have a nacho bar. And on the 28th was when they're going to draw the tickets. They're going to also have a special event. So every Tuesday in February, go to DHS, buy raffle tickets, and support our Marion Polk Food Share. Huge thank you to all of the staff there at DHS Voc Rehab for really working hard along with our businesses to fund our Marion Polk Food Share. So with that, Ramiro, you've got a final word for us.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in on a couple things, and sorry my video's not working here. But we have at Chariots, we're going to be testifying in support this week of HB 2662, which is a bill to fund the feasibility study for extending the West Side Express commuter rail to Kaiser here. What we are also supporting is, another change is our holiday weekend. So we're going to be providing holiday service for President's Day, which means we'll be operating at a Sunday level service. Let's see what else. And then lastly, I wanted to touch on Pastor Dominguez's point about, people that struggle with compassion fatigue. And because our teachers are doing this work out of the kindness of their hearts, a lot of them aren't doing this to make $1 million. And so I really want to encourage folks to get out on the water this weekend. It is free fishing weekend. So families can go out and be able to fish or crab without a license and really enjoy. This is going to be today and tomorrow on Sunday. So it doesn't apply on Monday. So yeah, I just want to encourage folks to get out there and really take care of yourself, because self-care is the best healthcare.
That is awesome. I'm going to go see if I can find the link to put it into the Facebook feed for free fishing. And that's a great word. I also want to add on that the city of Kaiser also has endorsed the study for the West Side rail extension. And we're very hopeful that this is going to go forward and do the study, look at about bringing commuter rail service from Wilsonville, extending it to the Kaiser and Salem area. The rail alignment they're looking at is the one that does land here at the transit center here in Kaiser and into Salem. So very excited to see what that could be and how we can improve our transportation options for people. So I'm putting that into the Facebook feed. So sometimes when you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. I'm typing away, so I make sure I get it right. So I want to thank you all very much for joining me today and joining all of the folks on Facebook, and then this will be on kaisertv.com. This is the February edition of Coffee with Cathy. I want to thank my friends, Betty Hart from the Kaiser Fire District Board of Directors, Ramiro Navarro from the Terrias Board of Directors, Pastor Jose Dominguez from the Luz de Valle and Latino Action Committee, and thanks to Bob Salazar from the Salem Kaiser School Board, who I know will try to join us next month to share what's going on there as they engage in the very important work of selecting a successor to Christy Perry to be our next superintendent of public instruction. So I hope you all have a great weekend. Enjoy the President's Day weekend. Be safe out there. And we'll see you next month on the March edition of Coffee with Cathy. Thank you so much.